uh, like I said, I've only been on the board for 6 months. When Clarence Rose moved to Oregon and the position opened up, I wanted to serve our community. And so I applied and was interviewed and accepted on the board. And one of the first things I wanted to bring to the board was this idea of prioritizing and assessing risk. And the risk to our power lines generally stems from when trees or limbs or birds come in contact with the line, and there's a connection that creates this electrical energy that potentially can cause a fire. So the board, in order to try and reduce that risk, has allocated a very large sum of money to try and do more line clearing. We're spending about $100,000 a month to clear additional power lines to give more or reduce that risk. And we're also purchasing a number of non-expulsion fuses. On every power line going into a transformer, there's fuses that if there's a connection from a limb, those fuses will disconnect the power in order to not have a continual voltage going through. So those expulsion fuses that are relics from the old PG&E purchase have a potential to create a fire. And so what we're doing is changing out as many of those fuses with non-expulsion fuses, and thus greatly reducing the risk of fire. So we're being very proactive, spending a lot of money right now. One set of fuses costs $300 each. We've already changed out over 300 sets of fuses already. So we're spending a lot of money trying to reduce that fire risk. It's a great opportunity.
Okay, great, thank you. Anybody else like to pipe in on that question? Anna?
Yeah, I would like to. I would just like to add to that, of course, fire prevention is around right-of-way increases, like Tom mentioned. I think also exploring opportunities, and this is just exploring, of course, exploring opportunities to dive into broadband and underground lines, looking at the geographical regions of our county, different sections that might make more sense in some areas to go underground versus other areas it might make more sense to increase the right-of-way. So just to echo Tom's sentiments, but also add that option to also explore.
Okay, great. Anybody else? Plenty of questions, so don't worry if you want to skip one or two.
I'd like to jump in on this real quick.
Okay.
I think that, you know, in addition to what everybody said, you know, the expansion of our right-of-ways is probably the #1 thing that's going to help reduce the impacts of wildfire. And we are also working to increase the number of crews. Just this year, we were able to expand from 2 crews to 3 crews, which helps us to respond a lot quicker. We've diversified those crews, so where we had 4-person crews, 2 4-person crews, we now have 3 3-person crews, so we can be a little bit quicker to respond to different areas as needed. And then also working on the capacity of our lines. So, you know, we added a new transformer into the Hayfork substation, which is going to increase the durability of the system, which will ultimately help with our delivery of our power.
Great. And Kelly?
So the other thing we're doing right now is it's called single shot. So as soon as it gets warm, anytime a branch crosses over the lines, it shuts that whole line down. During the winter, you'll notice that if a branch falls on the lines, you can see the power kind of go up and down in your house like 3 times, and then it shuts off. As soon as it gets hot, we put on a single shot. So the minute there's the circuit closes, we shut the power line down, and then our crew has to go out and physically go to every single pole and check it out before we bring it back on again.
Great. And Kyle?
Yeah, I know that we're already starting to do this in Trinity County and with the TPUD, but using drones and technology, drones are becoming a lot less expensive, and it's safer for our crews to be able to inspect lines, and they can get a very clear inspection of where branches are, so they're not wasting time looking manually at 450 miles of power line. I'd like to see that drone technology has come a long way, and we could do a lot of inspection through technology. And then on the other aspect, if there is an opportunity for sections of line to go underground where the terrain isn't too horrible to work with, that's something that I would like to see as well.
Perfect. Okay.
I'll just add there, as far as buried lines, I think that's a great place to go. It's obviously very expensive to bury 450 miles of the primary distribution. But there are areas that are going to be cheaper than others. And I hope as we explore the cost of maintaining 130-foot right-of-way, increased vegetation management, and the costs that come along with this project, I hope we also are exploring, and I hope to see some numbers behind what it costs to bury lines in especially high hazard areas, and areas, again, the low hanging fruit where it's more affordable to bury them.